Welcome back, people. I'm back with another video, and today I'm going to be responding to the latest edition of Froch on fighting, where he's doing a Q&A and he's got a very special guest. Before we got to the special guest, Carl Froch did his usual introduction to the video, reminding us that he is Carl the Cobra Froch, International Hall of Famer, the one who knocked out George Groves in front of 80,000 people, Hall of Famer, you name it. He's giving it, he's listing it. And I know some people may find it annoying the way Carl talks about himself, but I find it very entertaining. He's embracing the fact that people find it annoying and he doesn't care because, after all, it's Froch on fighting and he can talk about himself as much as he likes. From the thumbnail of this video to the description, we pretty much know who this shadow figure is. It's none other than Anthony Joshua. So before we even click on the video, we are led to believe that the special guest in the Q&A is going to be Anthony Joshua, and in the description it reads, "We've squashed it. I have a lot of respect for him. Carl Froch on AJ Fallout." Just in case you've been living under a rock, the fallout that Carl Froch is referring to was from 3 weeks ago, where he made a video on the 27th of June explaining how he wasn't happy with Joshua calling him a prick, and he responded in his video by exposing WhatsApp messages from Anthony Joshua and claiming it happened on the 26th of June after the Dubois press conference. In my video, Did Carl Froch Fake His Explosive Clash with Anthony Joshua?, I exposed that the messages were not after the press conference with Daniel Dubois, but in fact, they were on the 6th of August 2023. So the Cobra is trying to sell us this idea that this is some recent beef that's just come out the blue, when really and truly, he's doing this to clout chase and also to make himself relevant, in the words of Frank Warren. Although I believe that Carl Froch and Anthony Joshua do have disagreements, I don't believe it's on the level that Carl Froch is trying to make it out to be. So that exchange that he had with Anthony Joshua was last year, August. So they probably made up about it and they just probably agreed to disagree on things. So from the thumbnail and the description, we are led to believe that Anthony Joshua is going to be on the show. But in fact, we get a voice note from Anthony Joshua. I think it was pretty funny the way Carl Froch opened this up with his wife Rachel by saying, "Oh, the first question of today is from a guy called Anthony from Watford, who has sent us through his question." Carl is absolutely hilarious now. It's obviously Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua didn't send him that voice note so he can put it on his latest episode of Froch on Fighting, but he's making out as if, it's Anthony from Watford, who is a fan, has sent through this question. Joshua's question was to challenge Carl for his criticism over his fight against Dubois being for the vacant IBF title. Carl's criticism was that the fact that both guys have lost to Usyk and they're not fighting the champion for the title. So the Cobra's case and argument is that both men can't truly call themselves champion unless they beat Usyk. So Anthony Joshua's question to Carl was that the very first world title that he fought for was against John Pascal for the vacant WBC super middleweight title. And he wanted to know whether or not he felt like a champion because he didn't beat the previous champion, who was Joe Calzaghe, who vacated the belt. Carl Froch's response was that Joe Calzaghe pulled out of the fight last minute and vacated his title, so he didn't get the opportunity as he was number one mandatory challenger for that belt. So he fought John Pascal, who was undefeated just as well as he was undefeated. So, in the words of Carl Froch, it was he and John Pascal who are two undefeated, hungry lions who were fighting in that ring. So, in a roundabout way, what Carl Froch is saying now is that both he and John Pascal were undefeated and they were worthy opponents for that belt. And he's basically saying, in a roundabout way, both Joshua and Dubois are defeated guys who are fighting for a vacant belt. So his fight against Pascal has more value than Joshua and Dubois. The Cobra went on to tell us that John Pascal, after losing to him, stepped up to light heavyweight and became a unified champion there and just really bigged up John Pascal. In a roundabout way, Carl is saying to Joshua that John Pascal is a better opponent than Daniel Dubois because, in his mind, Daniel Dubois is not going to achieve what John Pascal went on to achieve in his career. And this is the thing about Carl. Carl kind of diminishes what people do to elevate himself. In this video I did a few weeks ago, I do give examples of how Carl Froch will diminish things that Joshua has done in his career to elevate himself because he just talks about himself whenever he puts down someone. So do check that out. The link is in the description. So Carl goes on to say that Joshua failed to ask him about his fight against Lushan Bhutan, who was an undefeated IBF title holder, and how he beat the brakes off him. And that was an excellent win. Then he went on to fight Jermaine Taylor, who was another undefeated fighter. So we see what Carl's doing here. So Carl Froch here in this episode is forced to backtrack on what he had previously said in his episode where he said that anyone that doesn't fight a champion for the belt cannot call himself a real champion. But when we look at the career of Carl Froch, he's fought two times for a vacant title. But what he's done to kind of dig himself out of that hole is to say, well, I faced better opponents. Arthur Abraham was a title fight for a vacant belt, just like John Pascal. So, what is everyone's thoughts on Carl Froch once again exposing Joshua's messages, direct messages to him, and using it for his gain on his podcast? Let me know what you think in the comments. I personally don't think that they have any beef at all. At the end of the episode, he says that, oh, Joshua said he might appear on his podcast and how much he respects Joshua. But just listening to what he had to say in this episode and saying, oh, well, I fought for vacant belts, but they were against better opponents is a bit snidey. Maybe one of these days, the Cobra and AJ can be little fake mates, as Time Booth likes to put it. But anyway, thank you for listening. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.